What's up guys, KKaceh here. Sorry for being late with the beta information for all the characters for Honkai Star Rail 2.5. I know that this character information has been out for a few days, but here I am anyway. Hopefully that some of my analysis can be used to predict on what kind of gameplay you can get from these characters. But for now, let's start with our first character, Feixiao. So this is the basic information of her. A little bit of her profile right here, and then this is all her trace material and also her ascension material. I don't think this particular material is available yet, perhaps in version 2.5, so you cannot pre-farm her ascension material, but at least you can pre-farm her traces material. So let's just take a look at her kits right now. As usual, first I'm going to read all of her kits first, and then we're going to take a look at them one by one and then see what kind of analysis we can do and a little bit of predictions on how she can be played. So her name is Feixiao. Once again, she's a 5-star the Han Win unit, and this is her stats. Her speed is relatively high compared to other Honkai Star Rail unit, but a bit later we're going to compare them directly with other 5-star the Han unit, and let's see how well her stats are compared to the other 5-star character, especially the Han unit. And then let's move to her basic kit. Her basic attack, Bolt Thunder. It deals wind damage equal to 50% up to 130% of Feixiao's attack to a single target enemy. Pretty basic. And then her skill, War Axe. It deals wind damage equal to 120% up to 300% of Feixiao's attack to a single target enemy, and then advances forward Feixiao's next action by 5% up to 12.5% at max level. And then her ultimate, Terra Split, is a very long one. It costs 6 Flaying Aureus point up to 12 max points, I would say charges. It deals wind damage equal to 504% up to 1008%, and then there's a dash here, 1008% up to 2016%. I will explain my interpretation of this a bit later during the analysis section. Of Feixiao's attack to a single enemy, reducing its toughness regardless of weakness type. If the target is not weakness broken, Feixiao's weakness break efficiency increases by 100%. During the attack, Feixiao first launches Bolt Thunder Blitz, War Axe skyward multiple times until Flying Aureus is depleted. After that, she launches the final hit, which has this corresponding scaling. For every point of Flying Aureus consumed, deals wind damage equal to 6% up to 12% of Feixiao's attack to the target. If the target is weakness broken, the damage multiplier increases by 9% up to 18% at max level. From hit number 6 onward, if the target's HP is 0, reserves the remaining Flying Aureus and launches the final hit immediately. Bit long, but I'm going to try to explain how it works a bit later. But for those who have seen her ultimate, I think you can understand what it actually does. Next is her technique, Stormborn. After using the technique, this character enters the unrushed state, lasting for 20 seconds. While in the unrushed state, this character pulls in the enemies with a certain range, increases speed by 35%, and receives 1 point of Flying Aureus after entering battle. Active attacks in the unrushed state will strike all pull enemies and enter combat. After entering battle, deals wind damage equal to 200% of Feixiao's attack to all enemies at the start of each wave. This damage is guaranteed to crit. When more than one enemy is pulled in, increase the multiplier of this damage by 100% for each additional enemy pulled in, up to an increase of 1000%. Next is her talent, Thunder Hunt. The ultimate can be activated when Flying Aureus reaches 6 points up to 12 points. Feixiao gains 1 point of Flying Aureus for every 2 attacks used by allies. Attacks from Feixiao's ultimates are not counted. After other teammates use an attack, Feixiao launches follow-up attack against the primary target, deals wind damage equal to 100% up to 250% of Feixiao's attack. If no primary targets are available to attack, Feixiao attacks a single random enemy instead. This effect can only trigger 1 time per turn, and the trigger count is reset at the start of Feixiao's turn. And moving on to her traces. So her stat traces are attack 28%, crit rate 11.9%, and speed of 5. Her first major trace, Heaven Path, receive 4 points of Flaying Aureus at the start of the battle. If there are no teammates active in the battle on the field at the start of the turn, receive 1 point of Flaying Aureus. Her second major trace, Form Shift. When dealing damage to enemy targets via launching this unit's ultimate, it will be considered as a launching of follow-up attack. And her last major trace, Bolt Catch. Follow-up attack crit damage increases by 60%. And then her Eidolon. These are the 4 Eidolons that actually gives extra bonus effects instead of the one that just boosts the traces level. So the first one, which is her Eidolon 1, Skyward Eye Quell. When using ultimate, for each point of Flying Aureus consumed, the final hit additionally deals wind damage equal to 30% of Fish's attack to a random enemy. And then her second Eidolon, Moonward Eye Wish. In Talon's effect, the attack count required to gain Flying Aureus reduces by 1 count. And then her fourth Eidolon, Stormward Eye Hear. When basic attack or skill deals damage to the enemy target, it will be considered as follow-up attack. And then her E6, Homeward Eye Near. Increases follow-up attack when resistant penetration by 20%, increases the damage multiplier of the Talon's follow-up attack by 360%, and the damage dealt is considered as ultimate damage. Lastly, her Light Cone. I venture forth to hunt, and the art looks amazing, by the way. She's one of the prettiest characters. I like her. And let's see what it does. Intimidation. Increases the wearer's crit rate by 15% up to 25% at max superimposition. When any single ally uses an attack, the wearer gains 1 stack of Lumin Flex to a max of 6 stacks. Each stack for Lumin Flex enables the ultimate damage dealt by the wearer to ignore 9% up to 13% at max superimposition of the target's defense. This effect will be dispelled after the wearer uses their ultimate. Alright, I've read them all out. Now let's take a look at what any of these kids actually do in real battle, alongside having what kind of teammates that will be good for her, based on my first analysis. First, let's take a look at her basic stats, and then let's have a little bit of comparison with other 5-star characters. So I have pulled up the tier list from Prit Wen. They usually have a really nice guide and also tier list here. Let's make a quick comparison with other 5-star hunt character. So I have this pull up, Prit Wen. It's a site that usually has build and also tier list for gacha game characters. And I've pulled up Topaz, Zilla, Dr. Ratio, and Budhill, and do a little bit of like stats comparison and see where she stands among the other 5-star characters of the same path. First, take a look at Topaz, and as you guys can see, her attack is actually lower than Topaz, which is quite surprising, knowing that she's general of one of Xianzhou's ships. But once again, her speed is really high with 125 base speed, and with trace I think she gets like 5, so she has 130 speed by default, which is insane. But I guess all Feixiao characters are just a very fast character, so it makes sense. But yeah, but having low attack is quite surprising. And then let's take a look at Zilla. Zilla, the OG hunt character. How good are you compared to, seems like the most broken hunt unit that's gonna come in about a month. 2 months maybe. Okay, Feixiao is superior in HP. She's still faster than Zilla. Her attack is way lower than Zilla, so it seems like you will need quite a bit of attack stats from Relic in order to compensate for this low attack base stat. But her defense is pretty high and her HP is pretty high, which is not bad. And then let's take a look at Dr. Ratio. Dr. Ratio, her attack is way lower than Dr. Ratio. Dr. Ratio base attack is like 776. It's very high. Ratio also have way more defense. Same HP, but Ratio is just a much slower character. Yeah, so I think Feixiao could be one of the lowest, could be the lowest 5-star hunt unit when it comes to attack. I don't know how good Yanqing is, but I don't want to compare her with Yanqing since Yanqing is so outdated when it comes to his kit. And lastly, Boothill here. Boothill has way more HP, has way more defense, and has more attack as well. Well, it kind of makes sense since Boothill will duel and he will get hit all the time, so having more defensive stat makes sense. And once again, Feixiao's speed is just the highest among the 5-star character for the Han path. Pretty good. And then let's take a look at her skill. Her basic attack is very straightforward, classic, one single target attack, but I think the scaling is way higher than other 5-star character. Let's compare them again. At max level, she can deal 130%, which is quite a bit, while other characters only about like 100 or 110 at most. Let's take a look at Boothill. Boothill at max level at level 6 deals 100%. Doctor ratio 100%. Zila 100%. And then Topaz 100%. So even at using extra Eidolon is at 110. So Feixiao attack skilling is kind of bonkers. But then again, most likely you won't use her basic attack that much. What about her skill though? Okay, she deals 120% up to 200%, which is quite huge. Let's compare that with other characters again. For Topaz, 150%, which is... No, it's not. This Nambi, right? Okay, yeah, this is Nambi. This is her when Nambi attacks, 150%, which is half of what Feixiao is capable of dishing out at 300%. For Zila, it's 220%. It's pretty good. And also Zila has a little bit of a speed buff. For Doctor Ratio, only 150%. Once again, only half of what she can deal with this kind of scaling, 300%. Scary. And Boothill can deal 220% just like Zila. So still below Feixiao's when it comes to scaling. So I would assume that this will be nerfed a little bit in the next few beta version. And also what's really good that her next action is moved by 5% up to 12.5%. So most probably you don't need to actually have speed boots on her since she's already fast, and you can just focus on her attack stat for her boots. And this also means that probably you don't need to bring Bronya and Sparkle with her since she's already very fast, which is a bit different from the Han unit that really benefits from having Sparkle or Bronya. But just how good this is, we need a little bit more playtest in order to see the efficacy of this kind of scaling and this moving forward effects. We're gonna take a look at her ultimate a bit later. Now let's just take a look at her talent first. So her ultimate can be activated when flying areas reaches 6 points up to 12 points. So once again, if you have noticed, this is pretty much how Acheron ultimate works. Acheron needs 9 stacks to activate her ultimate, and Acheron can have another extra 3 as a reserve, while Feixiao can activate when she only has 6 and she can hold up to 12. And at any of that point, you can activate her ultimate. And these charges can be obtained by having 2 characters attacking. But I think with the follow-up attack team, you can get these charges a lot faster because many of your other characters will attack outside their turn. And that means Feixiao will get her ultimate much faster in a follow-up attack team. And we're gonna come back to the rest of her follow-up attack here since it's gonna be another part of her talent. We're gonna go back to the ultimate, which is relevant to the first part of her talent. So how this scaling works, from my understanding, this 504% up to 1008% is when you only have 6 charges, because I think this is the sum of all of her attack during ultimate, the Bolt, Thunder, Blitz, or War X Skyward. And I didn't put their scaling here. If I'm not mistaken, though, each of this Bolt, Thunder, Blitz, or the War X Skyward has a multiplier of 90% scaling. So if you times them by 6, which is the minimum amount of required charges, she will have about 540% at level 1. And then at max level, it deals 1008%. I could be wrong. And this, after the dash, this is when she deals the damage with full charges. Since with full charges, she can dish out 12 Bolt, Thunder, Blitz, or War Axe Skyward. So she deals a lot of damage. And also, if the target is not weakness broken, a Feixiao weakness break efficiency increased by 100%. This is insane one. And also, it reduces its toughness regardless of weakness type. Hoyoverse loves putting new DPS unit that can just ignore weaknesses. And from this, I can think that right now she could be the only Han unit that you will ever need, because she deals a lot of damage, insane scaling, and then she has weakness break efficiency in her own kit. You don't need Runmei. You can put Runmei if you want. And also it ignores weaknesses. What else do you want from a DPS, a Han unit? You don't need Zilla. You don't need Ratio, perhaps, because Feixiao is also a follow-up attacker. And I don't know what to say. One thing I can say for sure, she will get nerfed quite a bit. That's my assumption, at least. Anyway, once she at least attacks 6 times during her ultimate, which is with maximum of 12 times, the final hit, for every point of flying aura is consumed, deals wind damage equal to 6% up to 12%. So every time she uses her ultimate, she's guaranteed to deal at least at level 1, 36% damage at her final attack. And on max level, she will deal 72% to the enemy again, which is not bad. And at 12 maximum charges, at maximum level, she can deal an extra 144% of damage, which is quite a bit. That is equals to another Han unit. Is even bigger than Feixiao's scaling at max level. And on top of that, if the target is weakness broken, the damage multiplier increases by 9% up to 18%. So she has even more damage build up in her, depending the enemy state. If the enemy is not weakness broken, she can shred the enemy toughness bar. And if they are broken, she will destroy their health bar. An insane character. I have no idea what developers are thinking by giving her so much stuff. And also, she also have a saving mechanics. From hits number 6 onward, if the target HP is 0, reserve the remaining flying auras and launches the final hit immediately. So unlike Acheron, even though the enemies are kind of low in HP, you still need to use all of her attack. And I kind of noticed that to be a waste. I just tackled the latest Memory of Chaos, and there's that one moment that the enemy is only like 1 hit away from dying, but the turn count is about to go down. I had no choice but to use Acheron's ultimate so that I can move to the next wave without actually losing the turn count. But with Feixiao, you can save quite a bit and make her ready to use her next ultimate much faster. But yeah, I think the highlight of her kit is mostly her ultimate. This is where her main source of damage is gonna come. Just like Acheron, without her signature light cone, you don't really rely on her skill to deal damage, and mostly from her ultimate. Similarly, can be said about Feixiao. But Feixiao has a really much higher base speed, so she can attack a lot as well with her skill. And then we're continuing on with her talent again. There's more to it. Not only she's able to deal insane ultimate, her skill hits really hard, she also have follow-up attack. After other teammate use an attack, Feixiao launches follow-up attack against the primary target, dealing wind damage equal to 100%. That's quite a bit, I think. Let's compare it to other 5-star follow-up attack. At max level, it's 250%. What about Dr. Ratio? How much does he do? Dr. Ratio deals 270%, which is a bit higher than Feixiao, which is good since Dr. Ratio really relies on his follow-up attack to deal damage. What about Topaz? Topaz is 150% with Nambi. It's not much. But during the ultimate, Nambi can deal 300%. So Feixiao dealing quite a bit of damage with her follow-up attack. But it's just that you cannot trigger them as often as Dr. Ratio or as often as Nambi, because this effect can only be triggered one time per turn, and the trigger count is reset at the start of Feixiao's turn. So you need one whole cycle of your whole teammate until you're actually able to use her follow-up attack again. But if your whole team is filled with follow-up attacker, I think if you have someone like Topaz, and then I've seen Moses' kit, and then you can have Lingsha or Adventurin as her sustain, and there's her, you will see a lot of follow-up attack every turn. So right now, in the top of my mind, I think one team that can be really crazy with her, as I said, will be consisting of her, Topaz, Moza, and lastly, Lingsha or Adventurin. Because if possible, you want all of your team able to use attack so that you can get her ultimate charges a lot faster. If you bring someone like Huohu that both her skill and ultimate doesn't do attack, you're kinda missing out on getting extra point for Feixiao. Adventuring is a bit skill point friendly since most of the time you don't use his skill unless it's emergency, while Lingsha, her ultimate deals damage, if I'm not mistaken. We'll cover her kit a bit later. And her skill also deals damage, and also she has follow-up attack, so Lingsha is able to give her a lot of points here. As for Moza and Topaz, since they are follow-up attackers, they naturally will give Feixiao a lot of points. But the last one character that I can think of that might be good with Feixiao is actually March 7th, the Hunt, since she is a sub DPS by nature, and then her skill is actually provides buff to Feixiao, and then Feixiao will help her gaining charges as well, because Feixiao moves really fast and she attacks a lot, and that will trigger March to activate her enhanced basic attack, and maybe even trigger her follow-up attack. So for F2P, I think March will be a crazy support for Feixiao, and also the sub DPS. At least that's what I think. And once again, I don't think you need Ruanmei as much because she deals a lot of damage already, and also she has weakness break efficiency implemented in her ultimate, and you don't need Sparkle or Bronya because she's already very fast, and you don't need Tingyun since she doesn't need energy. So yeah, probably her team surprisingly will be filled with a bunch of sub DPS instead of actually the Harmony support. So once again, it kind of becomes like Acheron 2.0. Well, Acheron will bring a lot of Nihility unit into the team. Feixiao will bring a lot of the Han unit into her team, and one sustain. Insane character. I have no idea what the devs are thinking while designing her. And then her trace right here. Next, what also makes it a bit crazy is that when dealing damage to enemy targets via launching the ultimate, it will be considered as a launching follow-up attack, her second major trace. If I'm not mistaken, Topaz makes that the enemy receive more damage from follow-up attack. So if Topaz in the team, you can imagine how much more damage she will do with her ultimate. Insane. And then if you combine that with her third major trace, she already built in a lot of crit damage. So her follow-up attack and her ultimate by nature will deal a lot of crit damage already. So probably you kind of want to build a little bit of crit rate and some more crit damage on her as well. But yeah, once again, since her main source of damage will be from ultimate, there's going to be a lot of crit damage implemented already on her. So, and then go to her first race. She having 4 stacks of ultimate ready, which is very good. And if you think about it, she get 1 stack for every 2 attacks. And as I've mentioned, usually you need 4 people to actually give her 2 charges so that she can activate her ultimate within 1 turn. But if your whole team filled with follow-up attacker, she can get that from just 2 characters. For example, let's have her with Topaz. Feixiao attacked, and then Nambi attacked. That will give Feixiao 1 charge. And then Topaz attacked. That triggers Feixiao's follow-up attack, and that's another 1 charge of her ultimate. She's ready to use her ultimate with just 2 characters. And then the next 2 characters are ready to give her another 2 charges. So once again, right now in my mind, follow-up attack team is the way to go for her. And then we take a look at her technique that I have been missing out. Pretty much she's just pulling enemies towards her, and you can just battle the enemy in multiple waves. I don't see this to be good in the endgame challenges except Simultaneous Universe, but it's not bad that you deal wind damage on a start of each wave, and it's 200% of her attack, especially in pure fiction. A little bit of extra damage per wave is pretty good. And this damage granted to crit, by the way, is very strong. And 1 extra point of Auris is just very good. Instead of having maybe 2 characters, maybe you just need 1.5 character in order to her to use her ultimate immediately. And then this is not that relevant in most endgame content, since there's no way you're going to pull up to 10 enemies at once. Even in Simultaneous Universe, you mostly pull 3 to 4 enemies. So yeah, it's pretty good technique. So lastly, let's talk about her Eidolons. I think what's crazy is that let's talk about her Eidolon 4. When basic attack or skill deals damage to an enemy target, it will be considered as follow-up attack. So basically that means all of her kit already have crit damage built into her, 60% crit damage. That's a lot. But being stuck in E4, you need a little bit of money to achieve that. And if you bring her into Simultaneous Universe, she can utilize the Elation blessings very easily, since by that point at E4, every time she does, she will deal that aftertaste damage. And she gets so much buff from it, since usually Elation gives really crazy buff to the follow-up attack. But now, all of her kits are follow-up attack. You can just have fun and obliterate enemy in Simultaneous Universe with her. Maybe for the next 1 or 2 years, she still will be very strong. And let's talk about this right here. So basically, this kind of makes her a bit better when you bring to a fight with multiple enemies. Since now she gained boost of 30% added with the base of 12% at max level. So at max level, she can deal 42% for 1 of this stacked. So by using 1 ultimate, she will consume 6 charges of Auris, and that already gave her how much? 42 times 6. That's about 132% with just 1 random enemy when she unleashes her final attack from the ultimate. And this kind of makes her a bit going towards destruction, but not really, since destruction usually hits 3 enemies, but her ultimate at least makes her to hit 1 more enemy. That makes her a much better unit to fight against fights that has to mid to big size enemies like the monkeys, the dinosaurs, because sometimes the challenges that we encounter lately, usually they have 2 of those big enemies, 1 wave, which is quite annoying if you use the typical Han unit, since you need to focus on 1 enemy usually. But with Feixiao, Eidolon 1, now you can save a little bit of time while you killing 1 enemy. The other enemy will also getting a little bit of trashing, which is pretty good. But I think what really makes her broken is her Eidolon 2. Now instead of every 2 attacks you're getting 2 count, you just need one attack and you get one count. So at her Eidolon 2, in full follow-up attack team, she can deal ultimate like nobody's business. So if you're a whale and you're aiming for some Eidolons, I think Eidolon 2 is a very good stopping point, since she will be the killing machine with her ultimate. I think with her ultimate she can kill one enemy, and then with 2 or 3 characters that deals follow-up attack, she get another ultimate and she can kill enemy again, and so on and so on. Very powerful. And lastly, her Eidolon 6. So if you have her E4, all of her kit becomes follow-up attack, and all of them have 20% wind resistant penetration. So that's a lot of damage, 20% more damage. And then on top of that, also increase the talent follow-up attack by 360%. So before it's only like 100 something percent, 100 to 250%. Now with at E6, you can have 610% of damage, and that is like another ultimate being activated, basically. Very strong. And the damage dealt is considered as ultimate damage. This is only relevant in mostly simulated universe, or if you have characters that only buff ultimate crit damage, or characters that can inflict debuff on enemies that increases the enemy damage taken from ultimate or something like that. So yeah, lastly is her light cone. I think it's very powerful, it's very strong. Feixiao has what, 11.5% crit rate built with her trace right here. And then with this, you already get another 15%, so that's almost 27%. It's superimposition 1, which is pretty good. You just need maybe another 20 something percent, and you will be in pretty good spot. 50% crit rate is pretty good, and you can just the rest invest in crit damage. And then she gained a stack of Lumin Flux, at which each of them ignore defense. And once again, you can gain 6 stacks quite easily with a follow-up attack team. So basically, every time she uses her ultimate, she will ignore 54% of enemies' defense at superimposition 1. And at superimposition 5, she will ignore 78%, which is quite big. So basically, if you have this light cone on her, she will be, once again, unstoppable monster. Once again, could be the only Han unit that you will ever need. Anyway, that's all I want to say about Feixiao. It's a lot of yapping, but I think there's a lot of potential you can do with this character. Since her kit is insane, the scaling is a lot. Doesn't make sense, but I would assume she will be nerfed quite a bit. As for team, I really think once again she will be crazy with a full follow-up attack team, since it enables her so much, especially activating her ultimate early. But what do you think about her, guys? Let me know what kind of team that will be crazy for her. And also, as of now, I don't know what's a good relic for her. I can think for one on top of my head, but I heard we're getting new planner ornament sets, I think. So we can just take a look at that later. Maybe those will make her even broken. Anyway, I'm kind of losing my voice here. I will try to work on the other 2 characters, Moza and Lingsha, as soon as possible. But I just want to talk about Feixiao as soon as possible, because the first time I read her kit is just, I was mind blown with how crazy her damage multiplier are and how much she does as the Han unit. Seems like she's playing in a completely different field compared to the other 5-star unit. And you can say for sure that 4-star the Han Danheng is completely useless, since Feixiao is also a win the Han unit that ignore weaknesses, that has 100% damage break efficiency. And I really think that Danheng needs some buff. He's too old now. And I'm thinking to make another video talking about 5 characters that need some buffing. So look forward to that as well. But I've been a bit busy lately. I'm starting a new job. I'm still getting used to it. I don't have that much time to actually spend on recording and editing. But at least I want to give you guys at 1 video per week for now. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening to this guy yapping. Until the next video, stay sharp, gamers.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.